Hey folks, it's Jake here at Canadian Cutting Edge. We're looking at Fixed Blade Friday. HX Outdoors has put out this knife, the D161A, or is it the 161B? A. The D161A. It's called a tactical knife, very clearly, with a machine gun on the cover, on the blade right there, I should say, cover. It's called the SOPER V tactical knife. I guess that's probably the SOPER 5 tactical knife. 440C stainless steel is what they're saying's on here. And we've got G10 handle scales, removable. Drop point blade with a swedge. Of course, it's coated black, as you can clearly see. It comes in a Kydex-esque sheath. It's a Chinese version of Kydex. So they don't have to pay the Kydex royalties. It's just slightly different. And they don't have to pay Tech-Lock either, but they've sort of taken the Tech-Lock style belt clip. It's a little bit loose in there, as I showed in the unboxing video. So let's get to the full review. So at the start, let me tell you that my hands are large. They're on the right at the border mark between large and extra large. That's between 10 and 11 in European sizes. And this knife fits my hand with room to spare, as you can clearly see right there. Or I can go back here and I've got room up in the front there. This knife can be held in a great variety of different grips. Always got a little bit extra room. There's a bit of jimping. And on the end here, let's see, there you go, on the end and right there. So all three sides of the end and in the main finger choil and where your thumb rest is. So a variety of different grips. This grip sort of works, but not really. This digs in a little bit in the palm of your hand if you were to do it that way. But a number of different grips in hand that work okay. If you want to put your thumb up on the end like this, it's not very comfortable because it's coming down already. If it was flat, if it was on this angle, it would work, but it's on this angle. And so it kind of puts pressure right there on your thumb. So not the most comfortable. Regular fist grip, quite comfortable. There's absolutely no comfortable place to put your thumb. You have to hold it with your regular fist grip, and that's the only good place to put your thumb, or back here like this. In front of the handle, the guard right there, there's no place for your thumb up here on the spine of the blade that's comfortable at all. That's a pretty big negative. So that's sort of the overview. Now the overview of the sheath. So this Tech-Lock-esque piece, not really fond of it. For one, it doesn't lock that very well. It's not that strong. It's easy for, well, this side doesn't lock at all, and this side does. Both sides are supposed to lock, but it's just, it doesn't come around to it. It's just very poorly made. And in any case, I prefer this kind of thing. This is another cheap knife that I reviewed very recently, and they just used this little bit of fabric and they sewed it, well, they sewed it together and they just screwed it onto, in this case, it's ABS. And they could have easily done the same kind of thing on here, and then your belt goes through here and it hangs, and then you got a nice snap that holds it together. That kind of system is much preferred by me to this. Other people might have a different opinion, and that's totally fine. I'm just letting you know what I think. They did put a drain hole here, and that's a good thing. So if you're using the knife and you're outside and water gets in here, you want it to drain away. So it's reasonable. It does need to get heated up and squeezed over this knife again, because if you heat it up and squeeze it in there, it's going to be a little tighter than this. It's just a little too loose. So that's enough with the sheath. Let's do all the dimensions and sizes of everything on here. Cutting edge, 10 centimeters, 3.94 inches. Blade length, 11.05 centimeters, which is 4.35 inches. The blade thickness, 3.75 millimeters. That's 0.148 inches. The blade depth, and I measured right here where the, right here to the blade, 3.8 centimeters, 1.5 inches. The thickness of the edge behind the grind, 0.78 millimeters. That's 0.031 inches. The handle length, 13.2 centimeters, 5.2 inches. The handle thickness, and I measured right here on this, 2.3 centimeters, 0.91 inches. That's a pretty thick handle. The handle depth, and I measured that right here at the thickest spot this way, 3.3 centimeters, 1.3 inches. The grip area, so from behind the guard to the end here, 10.5 centimeters, 4.13 inches. The total length of the knife is 24.2 centimeters. That's 9.53 inches. How much does this puppy weigh? 247 grams, 8.7 ounces. So yeah, she's got the weight behind it. With the sheath, 321 grams, 11.3 ounces. The price for this knife at GearBest, you might be able to find other places to get it, but GearBest is where I deal with. GearBest sent this knife to me at their cost, and they do want me to review it as objectively as I can. So I'm trying to be totally honest as I can. The United States price, US dollars, $33.37. Canadian dollars, it's $42.37 again. In euros, it's 27.81. And in pounds, it's 24.74. There is a little bit of shipping that you will get added onto your cost of this as well. So, is there anything special about this knife or the sheath? No, not really. I'm calling it a pineapple grip. Not that that's a technical term at all. It just sort of looks a little bit like a pineapple. It does give a fair bit of grip in the hand, which I really like. That's with or without gloves on. So I like the general texture of the grips. This G10 is good. Just the styling of it. Well, I like this arch back here. So the roundness inside your palm of your hand fits in there very well. But this tail end, I wish it was just turned up a little bit, as I mentioned before about this. Like that it just doesn't feel right. And it wouldn't take very much at all, much of an adjustment for that to be much more comfortable. I don't like that the cutting edge, it could be a centimeter longer. It's not like you can put your hand in here, because if you do that and grip it all, you're going to cut your finger quite badly. So it could be 3/8 of an inch longer of a cutting edge, a centimeter longer. It's rough numbers. I do like that it's a saber grind. That's a nice flat grind here and a nice swedge. We've got a drop point. Almost looks like a spear point, but not quite. I don't tie knives to sticks to make them spears. I think that's a silly idea. I would much rather take my piece of wood and sharpen a very good tip on it, and then I've got a spear and a knife. Instead of having this tied on to a spear and then, the adrenaline's going and I end up throwing it and I throw it away or I break it or something. Not very smart. 440C steel. I hope that's what it is. I'm going to be cutting some stuff up. I will be very, very soon doing my cut test series. Peter over on Cedric and Ada channel, he does cut tests, and he has a nice standardized chart for how the different steels that he uses compares to his specific cutting test. And so I've talked with Peter a few times, and I'm going to start a similar system, except for I'm going to do it on my own. And I finally found some rope that's half decent for what I need to do. This is 1/4 inch manila rope. So it's very much like sisal rope, but it's a little bit different. And this is what I'm able to get here at a half decent price. So my tests will be coming up soon. Let's do a little bit of cut tests here and see what we can get. I have sharpened it up. I did have to sharpen it up on my own because HX Outdoors did a poor job of sharpening this blade. At some spots, it was around 18-degree angle, and at other spots, it was like 22 degrees. So a lot of variance in the angle of the cutting edge. So it took a bit of time for me to sharpen it. Now it's 20 degrees per side, consistently all the way up and down. And it cuts very, very well. That's my new cutting board that I'm going to start using for those tests. So it cuts through wire quite easily, and the edge isn't damaged in the least. And this is, it's got 4 different copper wires in there and some sheathing and other stuff in there, and it works quite well. As far as, is this a good tactical knife? Well, if I was in the military and I was looking for a tactical knife, or in sort of one of the ad hoc militaries or a militia or something, I would not go for this knife. This knife just is not comfortable enough in the hand, in the handle for all the various grips that you might want to use it for. And I'd want to have a better steel. Is this a good budget knife for, just goofing around with? Maybe. I think it just might be. The style of grind is really good. The blade shape is quite good. Everything that I've got covered and forward, that part of the knife is just great. The part you can't see, the part that you can see has some shortcomings. I'd like to be able to put my thumb up here comfortably somewhere. I'd like to have different grips on here. I'd like to have a little bit longer cutting edge. And, don't prefer the style of tech lock on here. There's a whole lot of reasons why I don't prefer this knife, and just a few reasons why I do like it. I like that they put this little bit of gentle jimping in these several places. That's a good thing. The basic shape of the handle is pretty good. It's just with that one little tweak here, and it would be a very good handle. So there you go. Those are my feelings of this knife. If you're looking for a knife like this and you want to buy this one, please consider using my links in the description below. I get a tiny bit of a referral fee, and that helps to fund this channel. It's expensive to run a YouTube channel, so your help is very much appreciated. And tomorrow you will see the video. For those of you guys who are my Patreon supporters, tomorrow I will have the winner released, the name released on who has won the knife for January. So that's just great, January 2018. So there you go. There's the knife. If you have any questions, comments, anything, please leave it in the description, in the comment section below, just below the description. Thank you again. Remember, always cut towards your chum, not your thumb.